I walked into today not expecting to say any of this. In fact, I walked in expecting to do what I always do: compete, shake hands, answer a few questions, and leave. But somewhere between the first serve and the last point, something shifted, and I've realized that I can't keep pretending that everything feels normal because it doesn't, not today. I've spent a long time trying to stay composed. I've told myself over and over that pressure is part of the job, that everyone feels it, that the best players just learn to live with it. And for the most part, I believed that. But there's a version of pressure that doesn't feel like motivation anymore. It feels like something you're dragging around with you, something you're hiding under your shirt, hoping no one notices how heavy it's become. Today, I couldn't hide it anymore, not because I didn't try, I did. I tried to breathe through it, to reset, to tell myself that this was just another match. But the truth is, it wasn't just another match. It was the match where all the matches before it finally caught up. I know how it looks from the outside. People see the score, the unforced errors, the body language, the frustration. They form opinions in seconds. That's sports, I get that. But what doesn't show up on the scoreboard is the stuff happening underneath. The doubt that creeps in at 4-4, the voice that asks what if I'm not good enough, the desperate need to do well that turns every small mistake into something that feels enormous. And when you keep all of that inside, when you're determined to be strong, to be mature, to represent your team and your family the right way, it doesn't just disappear. It stacks, it waits, and eventually it finds a way out. I've always wanted to handle difficult moments with grace. That matters to me more than most people probably realize. So when I feel emotion coming, my first instinct is to swallow it, to breathe through it, to keep moving. But today, that didn't work. Today, everything I'd been holding down rose up faster than I could control. And I want to be clear, this wasn't about one match. Of course, the match matters. Every match matters when you care this much. But what I felt today was bigger than a win or a loss. It was the weight of expectations, mine, not just anyone else's. The pressure to improve faster than I am. The pressure to prove I belong here. The pressure to constantly show that I'm strong enough, even on days when I feel fragile. Most days I believe I am strong enough. But there are other days, days like today, where that belief gets tested in ways I don't know how to explain. You pour everything into this sport. You train until your body aches. You travel constantly. You miss birthdays, holidays, quiet moments with people you love. You give so much of yourself that sometimes you forget where the sport ends and you begin. And then you step onto the court, and all you want is for that effort to show up. You want to feel free, confident, clear-headed. But instead of freedom, you feel the weight of everything you've sacrificed. Instead of clarity, you feel every comment, every expectation, every quiet question about what comes next. During the match, there were points where I was fighting to stay present, but my mind was already 3 shots ahead, not in a focused way, but in a panicked way. I was thinking about what people would say before I'd even finished the point. I was replaying past mistakes instead of reacting to the ball in front of me. And when that happens, you stop playing your game. You start fighting your opponent and yourself at the same time. That's the part people don't always see. They see the physical battle, the running, the hitting, the fatigue, but the mental battle, that one's harder to spot, and honestly sometimes it's harder to fight, because you can practice a forehand 10,000 times. You can get your body in peak condition. You can study tactics until they're second nature. But when your own emotions turn against you, it becomes a completely different challenge. It becomes about finding yourself again in the middle of the storm. After the match, I sat down and felt disappointed, not just about the way I played, but about the way I handled myself. I wanted to stay stronger. I wanted to walk off that court feeling like I'd kept everything together. And because I didn't, I started judging myself for that too, which is something I'm still learning to stop doing. I'm learning slowly, painfully, that being emotional doesn't mean I'm weak. It doesn't mean I failed, it just means I'm human. And sometimes humans reach a point where they need to let something out, not because they're giving up, but because they're exhausted from holding it in. When I said I can't take this anymore, it came from exhaustion, not surrender. There's a difference. I'm not saying I don't want this life. I love tennis, I love competing. I love the grind of getting better even when it hurts. But in that moment I was overwhelmed by everything surrounding the game. The noise, the pressure, the feeling that I always have to be okay even when I'm not. And maybe that's why it came out the way it did. Because for a long time I've been trained to convince myself that I can handle everything quietly. I've been moving forward without stopping to ask how I'm really doing. Today forced me to stop. I don't have all the answers. I'm still processing what happened, still trying to figure out what I need to do differently. But I know this moment matters because it showed me something I can't unsee. Strength isn't just about pushing through. Sometimes, strength is being honest enough to admit when something feels too heavy to carry alone. So yes, today was emotional, it was difficult. It wasn't the kind of moment I wanted anyone to see, but maybe it was the moment I needed to face. I'm still here, I'm still fighting, I'm still learning. And I'm trying to be honest with myself because the truth is I couldn't hold all of that inside anymore. Looking back now, after stepping away for a bit, I realized that what happened today didn't come out of nowhere. It felt sudden in the moment, like a storm that appeared without warning. But when I think about the last few weeks, even months, I can see the signs I ignored. Small moments where I felt overwhelmed. Practices where I walked off frustrated, not because I wasn't working hard, but because I expected more than I could give at that moment. Matches where I told myself it's fine, just move on, even when it wasn't fine. Instead of giving myself space to breathe, I kept pushing, convinced that more effort would fix everything. But sometimes pushing harder without understanding what you're feeling just makes the pressure build deeper. During today's match, there was a specific moment where everything blurred. I remember trying to reset between points, telling myself to slow down, but my thoughts were already sprinting ahead. I wasn't just thinking about the next shot, I was thinking about the consequences of every shot. What if I miss? What will they say? What does this mean? And when you start thinking like that, you stop trusting your instincts, you hesitate, you second-guess decisions you'd normally make without blinking. And that disconnect between a prepared body and a scattered mind is brutal. It makes you feel like you're fighting against your own shadow. I also started thinking about how much I tie my self-worth to performance. When I play well, everything feels clear, like I'm on the right path. When I don't, it feels like everything gets questioned, not just the match but my progress, my decisions, even my right to be here. I know that's not the healthiest mindset, but it's something I'm still working through. When you care this much, it's hard to separate who you are from how you perform. And then there's the reality of being watched. People are always watching, expecting, analyzing. I'm grateful for that, truly, I don't take it for granted. But it adds a layer of pressure that never fully goes away, even when you try to ignore it. You want to meet those expectations. You want to prove that you deserve your place. And sometimes that external pressure becomes internal noise that follows you onto every court. What hit me today was realizing I haven't been giving myself enough space to deal with any of that. I've been trying to be strong in a way that doesn't allow me to actually feel what I'm going through. And when you keep doing that, the feelings don't vanish. They just wait for a moment like this, a moment where everything comes rushing out at once. After the match, once the adrenaline faded and I sat quietly, I wasn't just thinking about mistakes or the result. I was thinking about how I've been handling everything lately. And I had to be honest, I've been putting too much pressure on myself without balancing it with anything that helps me recover mentally. I've been obsessed with improvement, progress, results, but not enough with how I'm actually feeling through all of it. That has to change. Not because I want things to be easier, but because I want to be better in a complete way. I want to be strong on the court and stable off it. I want to handle tough moments without feeling like everything is building up inside me until I break. I don't see today as purely negative, even though it hurt. I see it as a wake-up call. It showed me that I can't ignore this side of the game anymore. I can't just focus on technique or fitness without also caring for what's happening mentally and emotionally. And that's the part people don't talk about enough. Everyone talks about training, strategy, performance, but the internal battle, is just as important, and you don't fix it overnight. It takes time, awareness, and the courage to be uncomfortable. I'm still figuring it out. I'm still learning how to manage everything in a way that actually works for me, but I know now that pretending everything is fine when it's not isn't the answer. Today made that unavoidable. So when I said I couldn't take it anymore, it wasn't about giving up. It was about reaching a point where something had to shift, and recognizing that is the first step toward moving forward differently. What I'm starting to understand is that moments like today don't mean you're failing. It's easy to walk off the court thinking I should have handled that better. I shouldn't have let it get to me. I've had those thoughts already and I'll probably have them again. But the more I sit with this, the more I see that this is part of growing, even if it's not the kind of growth you'd choose to display publicly. Because that's another hard part, everything happens in front of people. The wins, the progress, the good moments, but also the breakdowns, the tears, the days you don't recognize yourself. You don't always get to go through those moments privately. So you learn to deal with that too. You learn that your most difficult moments can also be your most visible ones, and you still have to find a way forward. I used to believe that being strong meant staying completely composed, keeping everything locked down. I still value composure. But I'm starting to see that strength can also mean honesty. It can mean admitting that something affected you, that something felt too heavy, and that you need to adjust, not just push through the same way again. What I felt today doesn't change how much I love this sport. If anything, it proves how much it means to me. You don't reach that level of emotion if you don't care deeply. You don't feel that kind of pressure if you're not invested in becoming better. And I need to hold on to that instead of only focusing on the pain of it. At the same time, I know I need to change my approach. Not my effort, I'll always give everything I have, but my balance. I need to find a way to compete hard without carrying the weight of everything all at once. I need to give myself room to breathe, to process, to reset properly instead of just moving on and stacking more on top of what's already there. I've talked to my team about this. We're going to work on it together, not just the technical side of my game, but everything around it. Because being a complete player isn't just about how you hit the ball. It's about how you recover mentally, how you keep your confidence steady even when results aren't what you want, how you handle the moments when things fall apart. To the fans, thank you. I know today wasn't easy to watch and it wasn't easy for me either, but I've seen the support, the messages, the understanding, and it really does mean more than I can say. At the same time, I want people to understand that this is part of the journey. It's not always going to look perfect. There will be messy moments, unplanned moments, moments where nothing goes right, but that doesn't mean I'm not moving forward. This isn't me stepping back or losing belief. It's the opposite. It's me recognizing what I need to work on so I can come back stronger, not just as a player but as a person who can handle everything this level demands. Because I know I belong here, I believe that. But believing that also means taking responsibility for every part of the process, not just the easy parts. I don't expect everything to change overnight. This will take time and I'm okay with that. I'm willing to go through the discomfort because I know it's necessary. And today was a step in that direction, even if it didn't feel that way in the moment. So when I said I couldn't take it anymore, it wasn't the end. It was a turning point. A moment where I realized I can't keep doing things the same way if I want to keep growing. And sometimes those moments don't come wrapped neatly, they come when everything feels overwhelming, when emotions spill out, when you're forced to face what you've been avoiding. But now that I've faced it, I feel like I can move forward with more clarity, not because everything is solved, but because I'm finally aware of what I need to do. And that gives me direction again, even after a day that felt uncertain and heavy. At the end of it all, I'm still here, still competing, still learning, still pushing. This is just one moment in a much longer journey. I'm not going to let it define me. I'm going to use it, learn from it, and keep moving forward.